as you know, we had some huge games this past week in week 15. I think probably the most notable one was the Bills topping the Lions, and talk about a shootout. I think it was the second largest or largest scoring game of the NFL season. And that comes on a following week that already had a game that eclipsed that to begin with. But I think we can agree that the NFC is starting to get a little clustered, especially in the top part of it. So, Michael, I'm curious, out of the Lions, the Eagles, and the Vikings, out of those three teams, who do you trust to get to the Super Bowl?
Well, I definitely don't trust the Minnesota Vikings.
Okay.
No offense to the Minnesota Vikings. They have the same record as the Lions, as the Eagles, but they just have a tougher route, especially if they don't secure home field advantage, which I don't believe they do.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like anybody as loud of a place as it is, I believe people can go into Minnesota and win. I believe people can go into Detroit and win. But when it comes to January football, Jalen Hurts, if he's healthy, Saquon Barkley running the ball like he is, you still have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. You have guys who Philly just acquired.
Mm-hmm.
Keon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean. You have the veteran leadership of Darius Slay. You have the veteran leadership of C.J. Gardner-Johnson. And then, of course, you got Jalen Carter for Philadelphia, who has been playing hard. And he's wreaking havoc. He's honestly one of the better interior defensive linemen in the NFL, in my personal opinion. And that's coming from a Cowboys fan,
Mm-hmm.
especially not knowing Detroit, Minnesota, who would get the NFC North crown. I gotta go Philadelphia. They've been there most recently. We always know that Minnesota doesn't always perform well in the playoffs. Detroit got really close last year, losing in the NFC Championship game. But yeah, I would take the team that has had several players there before, because that veteran experience and leadership help in those situations.
Yeah, you know what? What's hard to dispute is I think prior to the game against the Bills, where the Lions lost, and not only did they lose that game, but they lost a key offensive member, David Montgomery, who's probably out unless they make a deep playoff run with an MCL sprain, and which is unfortunate because him with Jahmyr Gibbs, Sonic and Knuckles are ruthless offensively. Also, though, they've been able to keep it afloat with all the defensive injuries that they've had as well. I actually think that Minnesota is a scarier team than people realize because of the weapons that they have. Say what you want about Sam Darnold, but there's no doubt that he has not lost Vikings games. An argument could be made that he has been helping them get over the top and put some of these games away. Drew Code Sports Talk is supported by SeatGeek. SeatGeek is your go-to app for tickets, making it super easy to find the best deals. They even rate each ticket deal on a scale of 1 to 10, so you know you're getting your money's worth. And as a special thank you to our listeners, we've got a promo code just for you. Use Drew Code at checkout to get $20 off your first order. That's $20 off your first purchase, whether it's for the game that you've been dying to see or that concert that everybody is talking about. Head over to SeatGeek now, find your perfect seat, and use Drew Code for $20 off your first order. SeatGeek, get your tickets to the action today. Is he in a tough division with the Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions? Yes. However, you don't just fall asleep and wind up 12-2. It takes a lot of hard work, takes a team of perseverance. And I really do think that Kevin O'Connell as a head coach, arguably in the running for coach of the year with how he's been running this team with Sam Darnold, who wasn't originally their starting quarterback at the start of the season. It was supposed to be J.J. McCarthy, the rookie. And that's what I think of that. So I do want to give a little respect to the Vikings. However, I have to side with you with the Philadelphia Eagles. And I think I do like rubbing this in a little bit more because they are within the division of the Cowboys. And they do, I think you guys have to play them one more time this year, don't you?
Yes, we do. Where was the Cody who was so nice with that introduction?
I'm still here. I am taking your word for the Eagles, and it just coincidentally that they are in the same division as the Cowboys. I will say, though, in all fairness, it is hard for me to say anything disparaging about the Cowboys with my Raiders being, what is it, 2-12 now, or 2-11, or whatever the record is. All I know is we're tanking for either Ward or Sanders at this point. So,
or Travis Hunter.
I wouldn't go with Travis Hunter. We need a quarterback. We need a quarterback in the worst way possible. Aiden O'Connell isn't the guy. We just saw him Monday night. It's definitely not Desmond Ridder. But anyways, I think what I would say with the Eagles as well is not only the defense, which, by the way, hasn't given up 20 points in several weeks now, but each competition or each team that they've gone against, they have proven that they can keep up offensively regardless of the passing game situation. I know that they wanted to make a stink about it 2 weeks ago with A.J. Brown, but Jalen Hurts is still able to get into the end zone. Saquon Barkley is still able to get in the end zone. That defense protects the lead, as you mentioned, with Jalen Carter being probably one of the best defensive players in football right now. It's really hard to bet against Eagles. And I do mention this a couple of times. There's a big advantage when you have a ton of experience. And this would essentially be the Eagles' third or fourth consecutive year getting into the postseason. Jalen Hurts is, I think, his first starting year. He got bounced by Tom Brady. The following year, they made the Super Bowl. The year prior, they got bounced in the wild card. Now, this year, potentially could make a deep playoff run. And I think with that playoff experience and how ready you can be, I think that does separate you in the NFC, because as much as I want to pick Detroit, injuries and can they now outlast and get to the Super Bowl, and what are they going to look like is a big question mark. And it seems like every week they lose a key member of that team. So that's what I'd be a little worried about.
Anzalone, Aiden Hutchinson, now David Montgomery, Elaine McNeil. I mean, yeah, Detroit's starting to get hit with that injury bug. I would trust Philadelphia right now. They're playing really well and they're healthy.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's kind of weird too, because I didn't even think Nick Sirianni was going to make it through the end of the season, or I thought he'd be bounced by this season. And weird enough, he might have saved his job. And I don't necessarily think it's his coaching ability or his leadership. It just so happens that the team is winning despite that. So I don't know. That's another conversation maybe for another time. But